Will this be the end of the market and overpriced cars? If I'm being honest, the market has been going crazy with such high prices, and dealerships have been manipulating the prices without thinking about tomorrow. We simply can't pay that much amount of money, and everyone is saying the same thing. It is a huge red flag. But this is not just a simple matter of market collapse or not, it goes beyond that. And it will affect all of us. There is more to it than a lot of people have been talking about. It took us days to do the research, and we wanted to present it as simply as possible, so watch carefully. Remember when everything was cheap, just 5 years ago? In 2019, a decent level truck cost around $43,000. Fast forward to today, and that same truck demands a jaw-dropping $73,000. But hold on, it gets crazier. For the top-tier F-150 trim, the Limited, be prepared to part with a whopping $86,000. Stellantis, home to Jeep, Dodge and Ram, is planning layoffs, conveniently blaming California's state emissions. It is a common narrative among manufacturers: blame everything but the lack of demand. Here's Ford admitting the market's reality by cutting production by 50% on a truck with a ludicrous $95,000 MSRP. This is happening all over the country, and it's only right to ask if trucks are delivering a luxury experience, or is this a case of inflated prices? Just like the saying goes, what goes up must come down, and the market is witnessing a collapse. Now, the tide is turning. Dealerships are feeling the heat and prices are starting to drop. That elusive $5,000 truck might just become a reality again. Even the mighty United Auto Workers strikes couldn't stop the influx of inventory during production cuts. Dealerships increased their stock during the strikes, only to find out that the demand wasn't there. Trucks are becoming a real headache for dealers. Some are saying it's even worse than EVs. Take the famous Ram 1500 Laramine 2023 model, and on average, it takes around 242 days to leave its spot in the lots. But this is not just about Ram. People simply don't want to buy a truck for such a ridiculous price. The Ford F-150, once the epitome of a sturdy yet affordable truck, now starts at over $50,000 for the cheapest model on the lot. This inventory gridlock is a nationwide phenomenon. Ford dealerships showcase a sea of trucks, but not the kind that's making a splash in the market. Even the F-150 Lightnings are collecting dust. $94,200 for a white platinum Ford F-150 Lightning seems to be a tough sell. This is the bitter reality. The MSRP of these trucks has shot up from $43,000 in 2019 to a jaw-dropping $73,000. And now it is 2024. A new year to turn things around, right? Wrong. Companies are acting like there's no problem, and the truck woes continue with the 2024 models coming out, boasting higher MSRPs than the sluggish-selling 2023s. What is the solution proposed by manufacturers? Increase the prices. But let's be honest, that's not going to solve the inventory problems. Prices need a trim, not a boost. Even Toyota, which has had its share of production hiccups, is drowning in trucks now, playing pricing games to move things around. And let's talk about something that is so absurd if you ask me. Let's say you desperately need a new truck, so you pay these hefty prices. What's next? They take your truck back. Ford is leading the pack, but this is not just a one-time thing. Even Ram just had a recall, as it turns out that turning on the blinker activates the high beams. Honestly speaking, this might be a small issue, but recalls like this dent consumer confidence, especially when they're eyeing the hefty price tags on these trucks. But why is it happening altogether? Well, there are lots of things to talk about. Watch carefully because we need to get into the details. It's not just about prices and recalls. There's a whole story behind the scenes that's shaking up the automotive world. There is a reason that now all the media is picking up on this story. Big financial YouTubers outside the car niche, like Andre J, Graham Stephan, and even huge mainstream news media are saying the same thing. And UAW strikes were causing a bit of a hiccup in production according to the manufacturers. But now the UAW strikes have come and gone, and now the dealerships have more trucks than they can handle. During strikes, dealerships bulked up their inventory, fearing a prolonged strike. But now, with the demand not meeting expectations, production needs to be cut. Workers who returned post-strike are now facing layoffs. This is just a cruel turn of events. But the thing is, usually layoffs hurt the company in ways that are not visible in the short term. Plus now, there are no more excuses. The strikes are over, and there's no supply shortage or inventory excuse anymore. Market adjustments and claiming a lack of trucks won't cut it. To put it simply, this goes beyond what they've been claiming as reasons and factors. According to the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, the used car index, which tracks used car prices, rose by over 40% from December 2019 to October 2022. But why? The average car price in 2022 was $47,936. This is undeniably an expensive price to pay, but some people did do that. Thanks to one major thing: low interest rates. You see, back then, people had a lot of money from savings and stimulus money to spend after not being able to go anywhere and reduce other expenses because of the lockdowns. Now, when you mix attractive interest rates with this amount of money people could spend, you get what happened in the last few years, mainly after 2020. People just simply didn't care. And what all of this demand did was fuel the high payment we're seeing now, $750 to put it exactly. In fact, that is a record high number. This is why, as of now, car loans are the third highest debt category with around $1.5 trillion. So what now? Is the market actually going to collapse? But hold on, there are actually two more things we haven't talked about, factors that change the equation. Let me explain. One of the main factors that drove up car prices was the global shortage of semiconductors, which are essential components for modern vehicles. 2020 was a bad year for this industry. A modern-day car needs more than 3,000 chips to function. But governments didn't care about this that much because, in the grand scheme of things, this was a tiny number, just 3% of the global microchip consumption. Because of that, car production was not even the first priority. So companies had to cut back on their production output, leading to lower inventory and consequently higher prices. Now that the issue has been solved, manufacturers basically get however much they want. And although they want to get as much profit as possible, just like the dealerships, they can't. It is basic logic. More supply equals less demand, therefore a reduced price. But this reduced price is not coming down to us because, although dealerships are getting a cheaper price tag at the auctions, they're not passing it down to their customers. They have already bought a lot of trucks and the lots are literally filled to the brim. Even when they do buy these cheaper cars, guess what? They want to balance the profits with the old ones. They are in the market because they want to profit, so they'll not do anything to jeopardize that. They are the only ones who know what their next move is going to be like. But one thing we can be sure of is that the supply will keep rising, but the demand will keep dwindling until the price goes down to reach a certain break-even point. And here is where the second factor comes into play. The second and undeniably major factor in the equations are you and me. Making these videos and informing you of what is happening in the market is in turn making a lot of people cautious and hold on to their wallets a little bit longer. And the longer we wait, the faster the demand decreases and the cheaper the price tags become. You see, all the buzz around the market collapse online or just in the media in general, which is actually contributing to it. It is the same thing that happened in all of the big crashes. No one wants to buy when they keep hearing prices going down and the market collapsing. All of us want to wait it out, and this forces dealerships to slash prices to lure in hesitant buyers. And if we've learned from the patterns of a market crash before, the next thing that happens is everyone rushing to buy whatever they want, which means an increase in demand and an increase in prices too. This is why people have been saying that there will be a collapse in the market. Dealerships are trying to win customers over with a relatively cheaper price, and this is not just with trucks, it goes beyond that. EVs are going through even worse market conditions, so if you want to know more, go and watch the video we already made. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you there.